Okay, it's a new week in our multimedia design and development class, but our focus this week is on web development. And so we've been learning about HTML over the past few weeks. One thing to be aware of is that this is not a class on CSS, which kind of is the other half of HTML these days. So you have HTML, which allows you to add content to pages and so forth, but CSS is called Cascading Style Sheets. That's what it stands for. And it allows you to customize the visual format of the website to make it look nice and customized. So that's CSS. That's not something that we teach about in this class. We just learn about HTML as a focus mostly in this class. So you really can't make a beautiful looking website necessarily from what we learn in this class on the basics of HTML. It would really take learning CSS, but that's something you can learn about in the future. There are some good resources out there, and I think we've pointed to some, the W3C website. But anyway, so this week you're going to have a couple of videos on finishing a website, and these will go through how to finish and complete a website and linking in HTML and so forth, just explaining that and so forth. So make sure you understand those concepts, especially linking in HTML is important to understand this idea of relative versus absolute linking. Take a look at those, and then your simple website project is due at the end of this week. So remember what this involves. This is a website that you create from scratch, so it should be your own from scratch, and it's going to have each page should have a title, links to all other pages in the website, at least a paragraph of text and a picture. And of course those paragraph of text and pictures will go into the body tags of the site. And all HTML tags should be properly included and all page links should be functional. The following tags must be present in each page. Notice here that you've got to have your HTML tags opening and closing the entire page, your head tags opening and closing the head, and in those will be the title and meta tags, and then the body tags enclosing the rest of it. All the different items that you add, including the picture and paragraph of text on each page. And you might use these other tags as well. You'll probably use a BR, B, and A, and P tags as you move forward. And most pages will also have a title, so that H1 tag will be used for title. P is used for the paragraph of text, A is for links, and B is for bold, and then break links are for breaking up text. So all pictures should be properly linked so that they display correctly, and when you are finished with the website, zip all the files associated with the website into a single zip file and submit this file to the appropriate Dropbox in D2L. For those of you in the 540 class, your assignment is to include at least 3 pages in your website, and the 440 students, undergraduate, are required to include at least 2 pages in your website. So I will be looking for all these tags and the proper HTML format for all of these tags when you submit this assignment. So that's what to complete and submit this week. Let's see, let's get around to just how to complete and submit this. I'm going to go to a folder that I have for a website that I have created. So I have this folder. I've created this website called Ice Fishing, and you might have seen that in some of the examples that we have. And I have these 3 pages here and this images for all the images of the site. Now if I would like to do this again, or if I want to submit this, the best thing to do is to zip this or compress this item. So I can take compress ice fishing. This is for submitting it to the Dropbox in D2L. I choose compress ice fishing, and notice that it makes this icefishing.zip file. That's what I would upload to the Dropbox. That way all the files are already together in the way that they need to be. If I try something different, like if I try uploading each file separately without zipping it all together into one folder, it might lose the connections that it has to the different files or to the images that are part of the website. So now if I was the instructor and I was to take this and download this from your Dropbox and open it, I would open with the archive utility and unzip it. And what's nice about it is it keeps the same hierarchy of files that I had before. In other words, there's an ice fishing folder, and then inside that folder are the files that I need, and also there's an images folder that's in relation to those files in the right place so that they will all show up the right way. So if I double click this index file, looks like the pictures are showing up just fine. And if I click on the links, it goes to the different places. So that's an important thing to know to do, is just to zip those files all together. Make sure you get all of them and then submit them in that way. Another important thing I think for you to remember and to learn is, and I think many of you missed this on your first assignment, your simple HTML web page assignment, is the tags that are required in the head part of the website. So here's a sample website. Notice it says doc type HTML to get started, and then you have the HTML tag and also the HTML tag to finish it. And then right after the HTML tag usually comes the head tag. And within the head tags, see, notice that the slash head is finishing it off. So you've got head and head, those are within the head tags. You've got a title for the website, and you have meta names for description and keywords. So make sure you include these in your site as well. That's a requirement for the website, to have meta name equals description and meta keywords for the site. So in this case, the title for the site is Fun on the Web, and this title shows up in your browser. When you pull up the browser page for it, it shows up in the browser. So it's good to have that in there so that people understand what it's about. And then the meta name description explains the website. So this website, for instance, is about free web tutorials. I could change that though to happy web time. Whatever is a good description for your site is what you want to put in there in a sentence type of format. So remember to include the meta tags. And then meta name keywords are keywords that would be good to describe this site as well. And those are just keywords with a comma in between them. So happy web. And they don't have to be capitalized. They probably shouldn't be capitalized, actually. They're just keywords. What these do, though, is it helps the browsers and the search engines to find your site and to understand what your site's about. So that's what these meta description and keywords do. The description gives the search engine a description of your site, and then the keywords are the keywords that if someone were to search on a search engine, then your site might pop up because they've searched happy web development or whatever the keywords are for your site. So again, those don't show up in the actual page. You don't see those when you look at the page itself, but you do see them when you, or the search engines use them and the web browsers use them so that they can put forth your content. So let's see what else. And another important thing is when you have in your editor created a site, the home page for the site must be named index.html. So when you go to save the site or save as, you want to make sure that you name it this, index.html. And that's just a web standard. And if it's named index instead of home page or my page or ice fishing or whatever you might otherwise name it, index.html tells the browsers and the search engines that this is your main site. This is the site that they should go to first. If there are a bunch of different HTML files in one folder, it will go to the index one and show that one first. And that should be your home page. So that's just a standard. Again, make sure you save the main page or the home page as index.html. Now if you notice here, there are other pages on here under my ice fishing website that are called other things, but the home page is index.html. There's holes and shack. Those are okay because they're not the home page, but index.html is the home page, and so that's what will pop up first when we bring it up. So that's just a reminder. I think some of you missed that on the last presentation or the last assignment that you had. So complete the simple website project. Again, it's a simple project. Some of you had pretty big ideas for your website, and that might come in the future. But you'll be able to do those ideas with this, but you might not be able to make it look great without, like I mentioned, CSS, cascading style sheets. but you can make a pretty good start with this assignment as you submit this week.